Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We all have this wonderful ability that can help protect us, help give us the answer that we're looking for. And I do believe anything you need to know, you already know the answer. But how do you find the answer? Part of that comes from this thing known as our intuition or gut feeling. We're going to start with that today, and she's got a lot of insight on that and so much more. She's the owner of health and wellness at I Love Nature. Holly Wells is back with us. Hey, Holly, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to be here.
Wonderful to have you back. Now, before we even dig into this, can you tell everybody what I Love Nature is?
Yes, I Love Nature is a nonprofit that I started literally because I just felt that I had done all this training and I just wanted to share all the things I learned. And I was on this retreat in Arizona. It was the 13 indigenous grandmothers, and I was doing during quiet time, I was sitting by the river and I was doing a druid ceremony. And I might have shared this on the show. I was doing meditation, and I'm definitely a corporate coach, and I've definitely worked in corporate America my entire life. So this was just a very to go to, and so during this time, I was just asking for a sign, and in my mind's eye, I actually saw an eye, and it winked at me, and I knew that was my higher self saying, "You got this." And so, over the course of that rest of that retreat, I felt that I was being called to start this nonprofit. So that's why it's a nonprofit, and I just have lots of links out there that people can go to, and just different ways to help you feel better. So that's what it's all about.
Based on what we're talking about today, would you say that, Holly, your intuition really pushed you in the direction to do this endeavor as a nonprofit?
100%. You got it.
What did it feel like?
Really calming. Again, it was something just like when I started my second venture, which we'll talk about later, but it was just right. Again, it's in your gut that's what intuition is. And I actually just recently learned this, speaking of intuition, that intuition doesn't come from the mind. It actually comes from your heart. And so I thought that was very interesting. And to back that up, there have been studies done that your heart can literally light a light bulb because it sends out so much energy, whereas your mind, when they hook it up to all that, they can judge everything and see what lights up, and all that's very interesting, but it can't light up anything. It doesn't have that same kind of power. It doesn't have that output. So that's why if you link the two together, and I am a trained and certified heart math coach, that's what it's all about. It's about resilience and coherence, and it's really when you put your heart and mind together in resonance, that's when you do your best manifesting. That's when you know you've got it. And part of the training in heart math was they literally, when you would do meditations, you would have this little handheld device. It looked kind of like a mini iPod, even smaller, and you would hook one part of it to your ear. That was a little clip, and that's how it would know your heart, blood pressure, all that kind of senses stuff. And it would light up with different sounds and lights when you would reach these certain stages. So when you just started out and you're just in a normal state of being all over the place, and your mind is racing around, it was red, and it had like a certain beat, probably your heartbeat, I think it would link with. And then as you got into meditation and started getting into this more calmer state, it would kind of turn into an amber color. And then when you reached coherence, it actually was in green, and it would go back just in this really melodic flow pattern. So it's always good, and you could sense it when you're in coherence, when you're meditating, but it's always great when you're learning something to have like an external reinforcement of it. So I thought that was a great tool that they have created to learn with. So I highly recommend them if people that don't know about them. It's Heart Math, and they have done some amazing things. I mean, I sense everything and know it, and I just know things in my heart, but they go out and actually do studies and prove it. They've actually put random generators out around the world. I think her name, I'm going to forget. It's like, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to do her name wrong, but she's put all these different studies together where people will collaborate and do different blessings to different parts of the world for different things. And because they have these random generators strategically placed in different parts around the world, they then can tell when these random number generators get in coherence. So they actually can support and back up that when they focus on together as a community sending energy to an area, that it comes into coherence. Now, that's crazy, isn't it? Crazy cool.
Yeah, crazy cool. I say that all the time. We're the same person. I want to look at the feeling that you get when your gut is telling you, yeah, that's it. So when it came to starting the nonprofit, was it a feeling of just like no brainer? This is the answer. This is what I need to do. There's just no doubt whatsoever.
It totally did, and that's really funny because originally we, in this particular podcast, you and I, we've had this rescheduled like 3 times, which is only funny because what you're asking me right now kind of is bringing me back to what I originally wanted to talk about, which was manifestation versus stagnation. Okay, because it's true. You're not always. I mean, I'm a planner, I'm a project manager, but I know you need to plan things. But you also, what I just said, go with your gut. So that seems kind of contrary, right? But if you always have well-paid plans, when the moment comes, you can immediately put them into action. So that's kind of where they come together, whereas stagnation is doing nothing. And again, I always say that when you do nothing, that means you're giving up all your energy and choices to someone else who might not have your best mind in heart. I mean, not malevolently, but they just don't know you. They just have other things, it just might not be true. So that's why I'm always saying make choices and do things for yourself because you're the best person that knows things the best for you, right? That's the best outcome is for you to make your own choices versus giving that power over to someone else. But because this kept getting rescheduled, I'm like, okay, again, I'm following my intuition. I'm not supposed to spend the whole session talking about that, so I kind of like changed it up because I'm following my intuition and guidance, and it just feels right. So, and you just, again, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in other places, not just your mind, but once you center on it, then your whole body is calmer. I mean, to me, it is a physical transformation when you are in the flow versus not. You know when you're fighting something versus when you're in balance and harmony with something.
Let's look at that for a moment, and we can get into manifestation. I've talked about it a lot. The gut feeling, I think they sort of work hand in hand.
They do.
When it comes to your intuition, your gut feeling, is it usually the lighter feeling, almost to the point where you say, that's too easy, man. That can't be it. Let me think deeper into this, and then that sets you down the path of picking the wrong choice.
Yes, along with lighter, typically for me, it's like you feel energized and joy and passion toward it. So that's what again makes you want to do it even more so. That's why, to your point, is it lighter? Yeah, it just seems so easily because you have all these creative and intuition thoughts flowing into your mind because you're in connection with your higher self. That's what your intuition is. Mm-hmm. And so you're just getting all these juicy details and all these other things that you just keep thinking about. And then you're like, oh, my gosh, yeah, and that fits in with this. And, again, it just keeps rolling without effort because you're in the flow of your own intuition and what's right for you at that time. Whereas, again, if you're going against it, you might have all the well-played plans and you might have steps laid out. And, again, forcing something to happen when in fact you might not get the great outcome that you planned very diligently for. It's just not the right time or place for that.
I pilot by this one phrase, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about. All I need is within me now. All I need is within me now. And what do I mean by that? Everything that you desire, you need. Heal yourself. You can do that. The answer to any kind of situation, problem, challenge, you have the answer. You just got to listen to the answer, albeit through your intuition. Would you say that resonates with you at all?
Yes, and I love that, and that's something that I wanted to talk about today. That's like one of your, you could call it an affirmation or a mantra, mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about that again today, following this lovely eclipse that we just had. I'm always following what just went down, and so this Ring of Fire eclipse that we had, eclipses are always a time of great transformation where you just want to release things. And I know we've talked a lot about releasing things on this show, but I wanted to follow up with something I might not have stressed enough is that when you release things and you get rid of all that space, and the whole idea of releasing things, I think I've really touched on, is to make room for what you then want to bring in, right? All the good yumminess that you want to bring in instead of what you're releasing. But it's really important to claim what you want to bring instead, right? If you're getting rid of all that junk that you're getting rid of, all your limited beliefs, all of the unworthiness patterns, lack, all those things, fear, shame, whatever you want to get rid of, and bring in all the yummy thoughts, the best way to do that is through claiming it and then affirmations. I like to either write things on a Post-it note, put it on your bathroom mirror. That way you see it as soon as you wake up. You see it multiple times a day, right before you go to bed. You're kind of just forced. It's in your vision line. I think that's a great tool. Or, mantras have proven to work. So that's when you meditate and your mind starts kind of becoming active. You just start repeating this mantra, and it will just give you this, especially because you've chosen the mantra ahead of time or have them. And so it will bring you back to center and focus. And I find it calms my mind from the mind chatter, and I can then, again, get back to my meditation. So I find that helpful. I think I've spoken about another affirmation is just uplifting music. And singing along to your music is wonderful, despite some of your partners that might be like, oh, my God. I mean, I have friends and partners that love singing all the time. And it doesn't mean if you have a great voice, it's the jubilance of it, that you got to get on board with. But I can't stress enough the importance of our words, and especially right now, again, following the eclipse. It's really, as I said, a time where we're all really we're all antenna. We're all antennae, I guess, however you want to call it in the multiple, and we literally are sending and receiving signals all the time, and we've spoken about that. And so right now, after this eclipse energy, because again, it kind of goes for more than just one day, so know that it's not too late to get in on this energy, and really think about your words, thoughts, your emotions, your actions, because it's the energy that you're sending out in the universe, and it's encoded with your special energetic fingerprints, and it will go out and come back to you. So really, I mean, don't get, fixated on it and worried about it, but just if you catch yourself, thinking negative thoughts, etc., just, kind of take yourself back to center. And I do that typically by, as soon as I realize it, I'm like, oh my gosh, just take a big deep breath, breathing. That's why breathing and meditation go so well together. Just take a nice deep breath and just clear all that stagnant energy out. I usually repeat that a couple times. That also will bring you back to center in your focus. And that's just another good way to kind of clear all that fuzziness out and then replace all that negativity. Because, sending out hate and all that just brings more hate. And just sending out more love just brings more love. So, what do you want coming back to you? Think about that.
Well, yeah, I've heard a long time ago that when you point the finger at somebody, what's actually happening? You've got 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Yes, exactly.
And it seems that we've segged into manifestation here, hasn't it?
Yes.
So give me the principles. Some, we're there in terms of what you put out there, you're getting back. It's almost like, your parents used to tell you, be careful what you ask for because you'll get it. But it's true, you will. Some of the other principles, what could you share with us?
Well, it's definitely intention, right? So what you're manifesting, you want to be very clear about, and it needs to be with integrity of who you are authentically. That really gives it the juice behind it. You can say a lot of things and have like maybe a quick intention or something, but when it's actually backed up with your authenticity and your true heartfelt emotions, then you're really going to bring things into form. So, again, we truly are multidimensional people. I believe this, and I believe with all these eclipses, that's what the whole world, just all of humanity and the earth, all of us collectively, we're all becoming more multidimensional. And I think that, again, they can measure this, that we're becoming more crystalline than carbon-based. And clearly that will take a lot of time. We're not going to turn into light beings poof tomorrow, but it is happening already. They scientifically know, although we look solid, tables look solid, we all know that they talk about in quantum physics that really there's more space than particles, certainly within our bodies and also in objects, even though they appear very solid to us. So the way to manifest things is you have to have it in what they call the causal body before it comes into the physical body, into form. So that's what manifesting is you have something in these other dimensions that you're bringing forward. So to really practice manifesting, you have to have thoughts, feelings, your emotions, all this authentic energy that you put out in these other dimensions before you then bring it forward into physical form. So that's what manifesting is, the end result. That's the end result of everything you've already done. That's why people can manifest on accident by putting a lot of negative energy and thought and worry into negative things, which is why people that want to keep us in fear and keep our power away from us want to keep us thinking all these lower vibrational things because it works so great. I mean, that's why we've been programmed over all this time to default to all of these fear programming, is to continue to give our power to all these other entities versus taking it for ourselves, because we're very strong creative entities if we put our minds to it and focus on that instead of giving all of our energy to fear.
To illustrate your point, I learned about manifesting by reverse engineering it.
I love it. Let's hear it.
And it wasn't even planned. So I was in a relationship.
It never is.
It never is. I was in a relationship, and I would always think my role in this relationship is this, whatever this is, right? And it not necessarily the case, but I would think that. And I would be mowing the lawn. I'm like, that's what I am in this relationship. This is what I'm feeling. Well, guess what it turned out to be? Just what I said. And I think I manifested it. It was just a thought I had, and that's what it turned into be, but it wasn't really that. But then I started manifesting things that I wanted, and I've gotten quite a few things, but you need to be specific. I manifested another relationship. Not even kidding. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. Except I left out some key components about the relationship. Just assumed that would come along with it. So it wasn't really the perfect relationship. How about you and manifesting? What has happened for you that held true?
Well, literally just last week, I closed on my Chicago townhome. I think I've moved from Chicago to Ohio, and so that to get on a little bit of a distraction, but that obviously released abundance and happiness and joy in my life. Not that I didn't love my time in Chicago. I did love the city. Shout out to you all. Love the city. I will be back visiting. But yes, I moved closer to family, so now I'm here in Ohio. But yeah, and so actually one of the things, I'll get back on your question in a second, but one of the things I want to share with your community, since we're talking about it, is I'm going to give anybody, it's only a verbal offer, so it's a 50% discount offer to anyone who, because I'm just freed up with all this abundance and just love flowing from my heart, to anyone who goes to my website and contacts me for either one of my courses. I'll give you 50% off if you put in Ring of Fire for our recent eclipse. I'll give you 50% off either course. And they're already discounted on the website. I'm not going to put this other 50% discount on there, but it will be to anybody who sends me a note and signs up. They'll get another 50%. So, I'm not a big commercial person, so I'm going to, that's enough of that. But one of the things I also wanted to mention is I was watching this movie, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it's Love Over Money. And it was produced by, I think, Joaquin Phoenix. Have you heard about this yet?
I have not. Do tell.
So it's basically focused on John Robbins, Baskin Robbins, 31 Flavors. You're
Sure.
familiar with that, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about John Robbins is the son of his father who started it. He's one of them. It was Baskins and Robbins. The two people got together, Baskin Robbins. And so he was the son. It was just amazing. His father was, as many people are who are just built a great empire, he was just focused on what he was doing. He loved his family. They all do, right? But it's just what you do versus what you think you're doing. And so he just thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do any of those things. And he just thought, I want love over money. And he actually walked away from the family fortune, just said he didn't want it. And he actually went and was living very remotely with his girlfriend, having children, and just really realized what the importance of, he felt so much better. He'd always had physical complications in his life, and he became so strong because he was eating better food. And so him and his son actually started something called the Food Revolution, and it's all about the importance of food and how sugar addiction just makes you get your body inflammation. And so many people that think they have like arthritis or all these other things are just an outgrowth of inflammation, which largely can be changed by diet. And one of the things, besides all of that true things about health, which I love, one of the quotes, I'm going to paraphrase here completely. This is not exactly how he said it. I'm sure it was way more eloquent. But one of the quotes I loved from the movie that struck me, which is why I'm bringing it up, is he said, to feel settled in an insane world is insane. And that makes sense. Like right now, I feel we're in an insane world. I mean, there's so much war, violence, just disastrous, weather situations, everything's coming up and around. And if anyone feels settled in this, it's crazy, right? There's so much coming at us, which again is why I was wanting to give my offer, just to help as many people as possible, because right now there's just so much coming up. I mean, I'm a very positive person, but I definitely have negative thoughts and things that come up in my life that I have to deal with. So I just really like that quote. To feel settled in an insane world is insane. And that's true. So if you're looking out there and feeling unsettled, you're not alone.
Well, with different modalities and getting a grip on things and realizing what's really important, like the man from the Baskin-Robbins Empire.
Yes.
Is it possible to feel more settled, but maybe not fully settled in this insane world?
Absolutely. By using all these tools and with community. And all these, that's one thing, again, I wanted to touch on with just everything going on, especially all the things that I'm reading and hearing about with, particularly in Asheville, North Carolina, just, they were just hit so hard, and they thought they were in this oasis, right, like way away from water, that they would not be hit by a hurricane, and they were just devastatingly struck. I mean, to the point where just homes, shops gone, to this point. But
Yep.
They're just talking about how community is coming together and just literally digging themselves out, shovelful by backhoeful, literally mud, and just coming back together. Just they're out without water, fuel, and shelter. So they're relying on the community to get this done. And so that's why, again, community is what we're meant to do. I mean, we always talk about being in competition, and certainly that's there. That's what helps make us strive to be our better selves. But we need community, and we need to rely on community. And it's, again, collaboration. I mean, the projects I know, being a project manager, the projects that succeed are the ones where there's really great collaboration, right? Where we all have knowledge and we pull these resources together and we share that information. And I truly believe that that's our future model of success. So I think as humanity, we're definitely going to have many challenging days ahead, but I think we need to come together and address these challenges together with community.
Well, this strength and unity,
Yes.
I want to ask you before we close here on the manifestation topic today, would you say that you moving could have been a challenge? Getting the townhouse, getting it all together, finances and all of that, could have been a challenge, but because of the manifestation that took place, you got it done.
Yes, and I can say it was a challenge. I can attest to that. And another great form of manifestation, and this wasn't me personally, but I always love this visual, and I am a true science person. That's why I was trying to bring up science, and I have to, bragging here, I did get a science award in high school. I got all A's. I love every year. I love biology, chemistry, geology, physics. I mean, you name it, I love it. But one of the things that I want to talk about is the dragonfly, because they teach you in, I think, biology, that would be the one, how things go from, reptiles, you're in the egg, then you go to the pupa, then the chrysalis, then you turn into what you're going to finally be. There's typically 4 stages, right? But the dragonfly doesn't do that. It goes from an egg to like a tadpole right to the dragonfly. And how it does this is it just makes the choice. It manifests that it's ready. And when it's ready, it's this little tadpole, whatever you want to call that state, and it either goes onto a rock or somewhere else where it actually just dries out its wings, and within that time frame, it then emerges into the beautiful dragonfly we know. It doesn't go through that other stage. That's crazy, huh?
Wow, and I can't believe you brought that up, because we're out of time, but I'm going to share it because it's weird that you brought that up.
Yeah.
I impromptu I'm in New York. I went to Florida last weekend. It was just, I need to get away. I haven't been away. I had a friend, a coworker. He rented a condo on the beach. It was fantastic. All I wanted to do, even though I had, goals and read books and everything, I just wanted to sit and stare at the water. It was wonderful. And the last day, this is Monday, there was a huge dragonfly inside the screen door track. Unfortunately, it had already passed. I guess it just flew in there and it couldn't get out, whatever it might be. But we picked it up and we set it free to the environment. But It was huge, colorful, and I just wanted to stare at it. It was amazing. What an amazing creature. And now you're talking about it. So bizarre.
Yes, see, synchronicity. I love it. You can't make this up.
No. And then I wonder, what's the deeper meaning of a dragonfly? What is it? What's going on there? Time for a Google.
It is.
Right? What is
I actually know what it is because the dragonfly actually it means Gaia. So just so you know, the Earth was talking to you. So there's always symbols and synchronicities, and when you see that, to me it's Metatron. Look that up. It's Metatron and Gaia talking to you.
And what do you think the message was?
Well, clearly, I think you knew the message. You and your mates, as you said, you had all these intentions to go there and read all these books, which I'm sure were very knowledgeable, wonderful books you had chosen.
Yep.
And instead, you took the time to give yourself space to just relax, which is what your body needed at this time, and you came back refreshed. You could always read those books, but you might not always have that beautiful view and setting you're sitting in.
So I just looked it up, and in almost every part of the world, dragonfly symbolizes change and change in the perspective of self-realization. And I said to myself when I was there, I'm moving here. This is where I belong. It's not where I grew up anymore. It's where I belong, and that's where it is. Not even kidding. And I've been saying it since Monday.
We come full circle in this, half hour? I love it.
It's so bizarre. How do we find you? Holly, what's the best way to connect with you?
Obviously, ilovenature.com, which you've mentioned, and my new venture is New Leaf Humanity. Again, leaf on a tree, so newleafhumanity.solar. And that's where my course programs are and the offering. And again, if you mention and you send me a note with Ring of Fire in there, you're going to get an extra 50% off. So there you have it.
Super
Love
cool.
to hear from you.
Appreciate that. I Love Nature, by the way, EYE lovenature.com, right?
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Holly, great talking with you. Every time we get together, I realize that you run way deeper than I ever imagined, and I love it.
I love it. I look forward to our next discussion.
I do, too. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.